Okay, we continue with game 2 from this book, La Via dello XiangQi. Probably these games were taken from some old Chinese chess books, and they are very important because they teach some patterns, some ideas, opening ideas. In this case, the title of the game is Overwhelming Attack. So Cannon H E3, Cannon H E8, Knight G3, Knight G8. So this is called the symmetrical cannon. Rook H1, Rook I9. And now there is this move, pawn G5, that immediately frees the knight from being able to control, to square, or go on the attack. This is rook d9. It's a usual maneuver for the rook, but this is why it's important to watch entire games, because the entire game will tell you where to position the pieces in the opening. So knight c3, and here there is a comment that I don't know if it's correct, honestly, but let's see. They say if black plays this, it follows this, which attack this and this, and when he plays this, white play this move. And he says this is a good position for red. Honestly, I don't know, because this is kind of bad, and he has used a kind of tempo. He will need to use another tempo maybe to free from this situation. So I think they should have given us a longer variation here to understand why red is better. Okay, so let's return back to the position as it was, if I remember well. So he played knight c3, and now black needs to play rook, knight a8. Here it says a strange thing that black should have played rook c6. I think it's a typo, because maybe what he means is rook d6, right? So sometimes there are typos in this book. Why? Because maybe in that time they didn't have a database program like ChessBase, where they could print out what they would see on the screen, and what they would actually make as comments directly from the database. Okay, so knight a8, red continue with knight f5, because this is defended, and here black plays rook d5, but this seems helps red to do what he wants. Unfortunately, here it doesn't tell us what black should have played. Let's see. Knight takes e7, knight takes e7, and cannon takes e7, check, right? Then we have the minister or assistant d on e9. So this is important because often we have this problem. Do I play this or do I play this? So it seems this is the right move, also if here there is no comment about it. Then we have the elephant on c that goes on e3. So why red played this move, because this is kind of important, I think. I think the reason is because of this knight, but maybe he wants to defend it with rook c1. Let's see. Rook d4. Here it says it was better to play this move, and it gives a line, okay? But unfortunately it doesn't put the diagram that would have helped us to return back. So let's see what happens after rook d4. Minister d, e2. Rook c4. And now I invite the viewer of this video to pause and guess what will be red move, because I just said something, rook c1, to defend it, right? Well, it seems red didn't play rook c1. He played another move. And this is kind of important because it shows us the difference between chess and Chinese chess. Thanks to these open files, there is a possibility to attack right away. And so you must be ready to think out of the box. The move is rook d1. So what is going to play here? Black obviously takes. And now, what again? Pause the video and try to find out what red would play, because it's kind of interesting. I think these games must be memorized or seen over and over, because they give you really some amazing ideas. The move is rook d9. And of course here there are some ideas, like if it takes here, there is king d1, and black loses right away, okay? Why loses right away? Let me tell you. It's a difficult line to see. I will just show it by moving the fingers, okay? So let's say that it takes king d1 threatening rook d10 checkmate, because this cannot take because it's pinned, right? But once the rook is here and the king is here, he can play the cannon here to control d10. Well, in that case, guess what? Red continue with rook here. Boom, incredible. And why the rook there? Because then when black plays, for example, the rook that was here on b6, red plays rook takes e9. Now the king controls this file. The rook takes here. The only way is to take back with this, because there is the cannon. But when he takes back with that, there is the rook here that takes on g10 and gives checkmate. So that's why you cannot touch this cannon. And this is kind of very interesting, I think. But would you have been able to see this? Because this is at least a 3 moves, 4 moves line. And it's kind of maybe difficult to see, right, in a game. And so that's why I said you need to remember, memorize these games. So what did red play? Rook d9. What did black do? Black played cannon b7, because he's trying to take away this. Once you take away this, you can actually take, okay? But red is not going to do that. He's not going to exchange. He goes this way. Why? Because he wants to change the front of the attack on that side. So here again, black has to find out if he can take or not. In the game, black will play this, but what happens if it takes on b3? Well, also this line is a little long, but worth to watch it, and I think because it's kind of long, 5 moves, I will actually put it over the board. Okay, so take, cannon goes here, pawn c6, rook h9. Can you imagine? Because this is why it's important to watch this kind of games. Because I was thinking rook h10, but what do you do? Trying to give checkmate, right? But instead with this, you are threatening checkmate right away. And so that's why he played pawn c6, because now he's defending this with this cannon, right? But it's not over. What he's going to do? He plays this. And now this is here. Of course, now the game is over. Why? Rook d takes e9. The cannon takes e9 because this cannot move. And of course, the checkmate is done this way. Okay? So a beautiful way to finish the game, but again, this is not how it ended. So let's return back to the previous position where luckily there was a diagram. However, you know what? I would like to return back from the beginning because the game is really nice and I want to enjoy it one more from the beginning. And this is also a way to try to see how much we remember of the game. So this is kind of important, right? Pam and pam. So the game started with the cannon that are symmetrical on this way, this, and then there was this. And black continue with this, yes. Knight c3, knight a8, knight f5, and rook d5, giving red what he wants. So this move not so good, probably, right? Tack, 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 and this done. And now this is here, the elephant c and rook d4. This and this. Wow. And now there is the fourth amazing move, which is this. Then it takes, giving another tempo to red that is trying to threaten the checkmate here. Here it goes here to attack this, but red changes completely the line of attack. And here we saw what happened if black takes on b3 and instead he played elephant i8 to block that, right? So what does red do at this point? No? At this point, what do you do? Well, now we know why this is important, because you control this, and red plays this to bring probably the cannon in the center. Let's see. He plays rook c4, red continue with rook h8, rook takes e4, and now there is rook takes e8, and here in fact black start to have a big problem, right? So in the game it finished like this. There is this d8, and red plays this. And the game is over. It says why? Because there is rook e4, cannon e5 check, minister d e9, and then rook takes e8 and the game is over. But instead, let's watch one thing here because it's kind of interesting. Let's see if instead of this, he played this, right? Sorry. They must have moved it or not. Yeah, so the rook was here, okay? Because otherwise, if it was here, boom. So I didn't correctly put the pieces, but it doesn't matter. So let's see this. If it takes back, so not a good idea, right? So I must play this. I don't know. I don't know. Because for example, I don't know, because here there is a kind of strange line. Let's see if he makes this. He blocks this from going there, and then there is this. This goes here. H8. And goes back to control this. And then there is this. Okay, maybe is a checkmate no matter what. Maybe needs to be checked with an engine to be sure. This is what I saw here. And now let's see also the last line, just to see it again, because again I really like it, but I want to be sure it makes sense up to the end. And this I think it's the exercise one should do to actually learn this game. So one needs to be patient. And here I am not watching the book. Here I am trying to remember what happened over the board, you know. Tac, he played this, he played this, and or not, no. So you see, this is the point after rook d9, knight c3, knight a8, here knight f5, rook d5, tac, tac, tac. Okay, so this I remember it at this point. Then this was the one used. The elephant needs to go here to open the line for the rook. The rook now goes to take the pieces. Red continue without being worried about that. He takes the pawn and he plays this because it's the kind of winning move. he sacrifices the knight, and he doesn't care because he goes here. The idea is this checkmate, right? But at this point, black must do something, that is to remove the one that gives the pin. And so red changes the strategy. I don't know, I think these ancient games must be analyzed kind of well, with all these kind of traps. This time, for example, now he decides that he needs to save this. And he wastes a kind of tempo going a little back. He goes here, and now the problem is the attack that actually exists. He takes on e8, minister e8, and now there is rook h8. Why? Because black plays this to avoid the checkmate, or yeah, a kind of checkmate, but unfortunately there is this. And when he goes back, there is this. So also if black takes this, here it's checkmate. So yes, a very beautiful game. Also if it's like a magician with a sleight of hand, right? He shows us some things, but it doesn't show us the refutation, because I'm sure there must be some refutation to this game. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I did, definitely did. Thank you.